Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion. Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. No impotent Samsons, please. This feels like a Samson run. I was wrong. I was off by one, aka incorrect. It's Eve. CZLJ, J8J3. Alright, be smart. NL, don't do it. Fight the temptation to... I gotta do it! I never had a choice. If you're not popping the razor blade immediately as Eve, just go home, okay? Yeah, this is my... I'm like the Wayne Gretzky of playing Isaac in terms of my longevity, rather than my actual prowess. This is not the best choice for the metaphor. Anyway, the point is, I played this game a lot, okay? I'm in the business of getting messy and making mistakes like Miss Frizzle said, my idol. Not actually my idol, but still. You know, she had a good... What happened to my generation, man? We were raised on Miss Frizzle's, you know, mantra. Get messy, make mistakes. I forget the other one. There were 3 parts of it. Never really liked the Magic School Bus that much, to be honest with you. But anyway, now all of a sudden we're like, get messy, make mistakes. No thanks, I'll wait for the Brady Game strategy guide so I know how to do things perfectly on my first attempt. Sometimes you gotta have some experiential learning. Thank you for coming to my Theodore talk. Almost made an effort to walk on the spikes. They're very glad I didn't. I don't know, I was just BSing, honestly. Hoping to get something useful here. Dude, I would describe Lazarags as useful. Do we lose the Whore of Babylon if we respawn as Lazarus? Well, we lose, in all likelihood at least, the ability to get the Whore of Babylon to pop on 1 HP instead of on a half, which is dangerous for sure. So I'm using Lazarus Rag right now as just like a failsafe. If things go wrong and we have to respawn, we'll be very happy it exists. Ah! Well, experimental treatment has kind of turned us into Lazarus already. I stand by what I said earlier, though. We definitely will be happy to be able to respawn, especially now that we have 1 HP, really. Yo! 1 more. We can get 1 more. Okay, well, we can't get 1 more, but at least we know that it's IV bag. You know, there's actually a lot of positives to this run that you might not have, you know, anticipated. The big one, for real, and it's gonna sound a little ridiculous, but, I mean, our luck and, well, let's split it up. Our DPS got better as a result of experimental treatments. Rate of fire is better. You know, we got good things going on in that department. But I was gonna say, for sure, that, you know, having 3 luck could start like a consumable avalanche or waterfall that works out well for us, you know? Just getting, you know, putting our Y-intercept a little bit higher for where this run's actually starting off from like a strength standpoint. Very happy with that bomb, even though I did also want to get the Tinted Rock out of it. We needed to protect ourselves and clear some space. So I actually don't feel like we're in that dangerous of a situation, despite being 1 hit away from respawn. Definitely want those. And, you know, I can be petty sometimes when it comes to these Isaac runs. There's no doubt about that. It still feels better than our last Samson run, which is, I wish I had, like, my Stream Deck, and I wish the Stream Deck worked in the first place. So I could put, like, a boo, you know, like, leave Samson alone, but sorry, Kate's yelling at the cats. I'm making sure there's no vom to clean up. But, I mean, I mean what I said what I mean. Like, I'm looking at this run, and I'm like, yo, this is better than our last run was by this point. A little bit more concerning from a health points related context. I don't like to use HP, because HP is a nickname, and nicknames are for friends, and right now, HP is no friend of mine. I think I'm just gonna cool it right there. We could buy Spirit Hearts. We shouldn't need them. We're more likely, or most likely, to take 1 or 0 deals from the Deal with the Devil. We've been taking a lot less deals lately. I think I'm becoming choosier. I'm also losing more consistently, which is, maybe those things are related. Nah! Stompy? No? I don't know what we got then. Alright, let's move it along. So far, so good. I have been told, by the way, I still need to do Rerun. And I still need to do It's the Key. So both of those are on the list for when we end the streak. But we are kind of like, you know, I'm like a Harrier jet right now, okay? Full of all the smartest and brightest minds and the engineering plans they could come up with. Millions and millions of dollars of parts, the cutting edge technology. But I'm kind of just hovering right now. Because, I don't know when that ye old DLC is coming out. Certainly seems like 2019 is a guarantee. But I don't know if it's 2019 December or if it's 2019 March, you know? And that's not really an excuse because I should knock the save file stuff out one way or the other. But simultaneously, I'm also just kind of enjoying playing Isaac, you know, on its own merits again without having an objective. But I will get to them. I promise you that. You know how I can promise you that? Because we get to everything in Isaac. We got this whole friggin' save file done. What am I looking for here? Well, on our last run, we got the body. I said, I don't want the body. On this run, I wanted the body. Why did I say that in an Italian accent? Look, that wasn't an Italian accent. Who's culturally insensitive now? That was actually a Canadian accent. In my head canon, at least. Okay. Sad bombs? That wouldn't be what I would consider like my #1 pickup. Why Bob's brain? Because I'm going nuts, okay? Sure. I want to roll a high-risk, high-reward run. Where the risk is we could die and the reward is maybe we won't. I don't know, man. I've been enjoying playing Isaac a little bit closer to the edge, you know? My Isaac series is like the phases of someone's life. You know, I went through that period recently. We got 42 wins in a row or something like that. We were all buttoned up, wearing our Sunday best, headed to church. Now, I lost that streak, which is a thematic incident of trauma in my origin story, and now I'm like wearing black clothes and I cut my hair looking all weird and I'm listening to I don't give a dang about your bad reputation. This is my bad boy streak, that's right. My favorite Pixie song is Wave of Mutilation. That's not true at all. Anyway. So if we want maximum fun, I mean, we're gonna go for the Mega Satan kill. I think I'm gonna say, dude, we can say goodbye to the Razor Blade. I'm taking Void. Why take Void? Well, as of right now, it's garbage, but it could statistically become very fun for us. The Razor Blade is like interesting, but you know, it could use a little je ne sais quoi. You know, once you get past a certain point, it's not that necessary, I would suggest. And then beyond all of this, I'm like, we got 4 rate of fire, so our damage is already in a pretty solid spot. No, Ruka, you don't understand, okay? When you meow, I can't let you in the room, because I'm privy to all the context. You and Tomo were running around. I don't know if you can even hear the meows. You just have to take my word for it that they exist and I haven't lost my mind. You and Tomo were running around, making a racket, knocking some stuff over. Kate came out. She said, hey, stop that. And now it's like, that's the biggest catastrophe that can exist in a feline life. So now you're meowing at me like, please, you know, show me some love and attention, because I think that, you know, Kate doesn't like us anymore. Kate doesn't like you anymore. She loves you. She always has. Remember that. However, she is probably a little bit annoyed at the fact that, you know, from a human perspective, it definitely seems like all that noise you're making unnecessary, okay? So just stay, I can let you in, but you gotta come in and sleep, okay? You can't come in and be rattling around. You understand? Ruka. Oh, he's got the sad eyes. I'm closing the door, Ruka. All right. Now get in the box. There you go. All right. Learning a lot about what it means to be a father from disciplining this cat. It's a whole thing. I've explained it before. I mean, I don't know anything about parenthood, really. We're going to try rerolls, even though Pointy Rib is kind of good. If we get something amazing, I'll take it, but I wouldn't mind getting a chance to try out Void as well. You know, I came to this realization as a teacher when I was but a young man myself. That's very good. Not far out of school, still remembered all of... oh, we didn't need to place that, but that's okay. Still remembered, like, all the teachers I've had, and I was like, man, all those teachers were stupid, even though they did this as a lifelong craft. I'll be way better, just, like, on hunch. Excuse me, my son, you cannot be up on the desk. Get down. The box is where you get petted. On the desk, you only encounter being placed onto the ground. So I thought, like, hey, you know, kids don't need to be disciplined. You just gotta, you know, incentivize them to act well. It doesn't work. You know, my first month of teaching in Korea, on a behavioral level, I was, like, eaten alive. I was like, why don't these kids respect me? Then, 3 months in, that's like a semester in one of the private schools there, we rotated classes, and, you know, my fellow teachers were like, hey, here's what you do. On the first class... set your ground rules, and as soon as somebody breaks them, make an example of them. From that point onwards, very, very rarely had behavioral issues. And in fact, had a better relationship with my students to begin with, because it wasn't, you know, every day was not like a competition. Who's going to win today, the teacher or the students, you know? Instead, it was like, hey, these are the rules, and if you mess around, you're going to get sent to the principal's office, and she's going to, like, verbally massacre you. You know, the rules are rules. You set the ground rules, it works out well. Okay, now you want to leave? Okay, goodbye. It's the same with the cat, you know? To some extent. Yo, this is a great synergy now that I think about it. It's the same with the cat to some extent, you know? I would love if the cat had the personality I have, which is like... hey, don't cause any trouble for anyone. Mind your own business. And, you know, maybe we'll start a book club together. But instead, that's not the way she goes, you know? A cat sometimes wants to get up to some stuff. You gotta discipline it. But, you know, it's harder to discipline a cat than it is to discipline a child. Because a child has, like, an adult human brain. Can understand what, you know, it's being punished for. A cat, you never know, right? Like, there's not too many cat psychologists. So, like, how do you make sure that in a cat's brain, which is, like, less in volume, you know, is smaller than, like, a Skittle, which is probably not true, but, you know, close. How do you make sure that it associates the punishment with the actual thing that it's doing and remembers it? I don't know. I don't even know if there's an answer there. Hey, I would not like to be on a cursed floor anymore. Could you give me the item room? Incredible. Haha, the pill said X-Lax. The pill say X-Lax, and I laugh. Did we... you know what? We did find the item room because we got Dark Bomb out of it. So we're actually free to go if I could just remember where the heck I wanted to go in the first... whatever. I don't care. Hit me. Change.org petition. Remove this curse from the game, you cowards. I hate it. I think it was not over here either. I don't even know. Maybe down from... okay, oh, yeah, okay, this seems right now. Alright, we're free. And we're actually ahead of schedule. Very nice. Or should I say very nice? It's weird, man. I'm sympathetic to parental needs. It's one of the things that's emblematic of the fact that I've grown from what I would say, you know, a young man into a man that only gets called young by people who are literally geriatric senior citizens. Because when you're 20, you're a young man. You know, even other people in their 20s are like, hey, young man, you know? But when you're 30, you're only really catching that, I don't know, maybe we actually would prefer to keep Bloody Penny. From people who are like 80, they're like, young man over here, and you're like, okay, but you're only saying that because you are highly old. I mean, like, for real. Anyway, when were you born? That's all I'm saying. Like, is your birth certificate handwritten? Regardless, I'm not trying to be rude. I was just watching, I bring it up because I was watching that Ted Bundy documentary, and they were like, yeah, I mean, when he got to the police station, he just told us a different name, and he had a different, like, he had a license for driving that was in that name, but it's not like there was any security on it. I mean, there was, back in those days, there wasn't even a photo on your driver's license, it was just a piece of paper with your name on it. It's like, really? That's why, by the way, I've brought this up on stream before, and people have been like, you're so stupid. You're like an idiot. How could you even ask a question like that? Nobody would answer the question for me. But it's like, back in like the 1700s, couldn't you just like roll up to a town and be like, yo. And they're like, name please. And you're like, George Washington, the president. Or even if, maybe you don't want to go for the biggest fish, but you could be like, you know, hey, I'm like John Hancock. They'd be like, whoa, really? John, from the Declaration of Independence. You'd be like, yeah, that's me, John Hancock. The only answer I ever got was people in chat were like, it was a crime. Yo, when has that stopped anybody from doing things, like, unequivocally? Of course, you know, you're gonna deter people from doing something if it's a crime. I just mean, like, you know, oh, nobody speeds, right? Because speeding's a crime. You remember when they outlawed murder and then all the murder stopped. You know, that's not really how it worked. I'm just saying, back in the day, couldn't there have been like an incredible rash of impersonations? Like, the Ted Bundy stuff took place in the 1970s. He got arrested in Florida and was like, yeah, my name's Tim Benson. And they were like, oh, really, Tim Benson? The only reason they found out that it wasn't, I mean, I'm making up an assumed name here as well, but the only reason they found out his name wasn't actually Tim Benson is because some guy was watching the news and was like, wait a minute, I'm Tim Benson and my wallet got stolen. And they were like, oh, okay, we got him. Like, I'm not trying to get put on a list, but was it not just insanely easy to get away with crimes? Like, now, I'm not gonna say I feel for the criminals, but like, you gotta be pretty clinical person to get away with like a crime that of that nature, right? You know, with DNA evidence and stuff like that. You know, a single drop of sweat that fell off your brow is like enough to, you know, they put it in the database, search it, then they just gotta figure out where the heck you are. I think that's from watching true crime and also television programs. It seems like that's what it's like, or similar to that at least. Probably not quite that easy, but you get the idea. It seems like these back in the 1970s, they were just like, all right, boss, there's a dead lady in here. She appears to have been murdered. And then they're like, okay, is the killer still here? And then they got their fingers crossed, like, please say yes, please say yes. They're like, sorry, boss. He fled the scene again, the coward. God, okay. Wait till he murders again, and then we'll try to catch him in the act. Like, there's no DNA evidence. There's like witnesses. By the way, I'm ignorant to a lot of this stuff for sure, and that's hopefully part of the humor. But it makes it all the more impressive that like sketch artists exist and are actually effective. And I know you're gonna say like, no, they're not. They actually are, though. Like, I've watched a lot of Forensic Files. Oh my god, the cat's freaking again. There are multiple cases, and I don't know if that's that many, but, you know, there's multiple documented cases of people basically being like, what do you look like? And then, you know, they're like, oh, they had, like, a nose that came to a point. And then they draw, like, I mean, I'm gonna level with you. I think a lot of the artist representations look nothing like the person when you see a photo of them. I guess we're just gonna suck them up. But then they get caught. They go, yeah, that sketch that you gave out, I saw him at the Sobeys last week. And then they arrest him. And I'm like, he doesn't even look anything like the fact that that has worked in the past is incredible, is what I'm trying to say. But it seems like, you know, in the, like, pre-1980s, it was just extremely easy to get away with crimes. I'm not saying I wish I was born in that era so I could do it. All I'm saying is, like, you know, now you got all this CSI sort of stuff that's going on. Back then, it seems like you could, you know, basically, if you, like, broke into somebody's house, they're like, are you still there? Is the perpetrator still in the domicile? No? Alright, well, you know, call us if he comes back. Otherwise, what are we supposed to do? You got, like, a time machine that we can use? Like, it's crazy. You think it's better to be a cop now or then? Really seems like, I don't know if your job was harder back then, but maybe the expectations were much lower, you know? If you were trying to find, like, a missing person in 1940, you know, what are people gonna get on your case about? It's like, well, did you phone everybody? Yeah, I phoned everybody. Well, did you look through the woods? Yeah, I looked through the woods. All right, well, get off his back, Marie. He's done everything he can do. Now it's, you know, DNA analysis, forensics, blood spatter, anyway. I don't know. These are all from television programs. But anyway, you get the idea. I'm just stunned. And then, this was in the 1970s, where at least, you know, if you were in, you know, Utah, and somebody named Tim Bindis came in and was like, I'm Tim Bindis. You could be like, you know, you could phone Florida and be like, hey, y'all, is Tim Bindis there? And they'd be like, yeah, he's here. And you'd be like, okay, something's fishy. Back in the 1700s, what are they gonna do? Send like a raven to Washington, D.C.? To bequeath to whom it may concern. One rakish young gentleman has come to our village claiming that he is the one and only John Hancock. Yes, that's the same one from the Declaration of Independence fame. Can you confirm that the man whose sketch is attached with a quill and ink drawing is the one true John Hancock? Like, I just feel like people could just get away with way more back then. But maybe that's what people will say about the modern era. Like in 2100, they'll be like, man, remember when you used to have to hope that the killer left a drop of blood at the crime scene and then we would run it through our DNA analysis and have to track him down? Now we just get in the time machine and we see who did the crime and we go catch him, you know? Who knows? Maybe we're still in the infancy. Oh my god, this cat. Or maybe it'll be like 2100 and people will be like, remember when there was law enforcement back before the war that we fought over fresh water? Now there's only vigilante sheriffs roaming the wasteland trying to secure petrochemicals to power their generators so they can keep the water filter on for another day. So sorry, was that too real for you? This run has also slowed down quite a bit. I was hoping there would be a battery charge in here, but in hindsight, that doesn't make any sense. I want you to give me a chest with a battery charge. And then I will suck up these items. Well, everybody gets one. I saved you. Don't make me do it again. 48-hour energy. Told you. Okay, 48-hour energy. No, it's a range upgrade, boys. Please, I've given you 18 keys. Please respond. Okay, sure. All's forgiven in some respects. Well, we will take Acid Baby. And we will take Mom's bra to possibly become the mom transformation a little later on. And I suppose we'll take the box. If you drop a battery charge, I'll never forgive you. You know what? I think we will take Vibrant Bulb here. Have you noticed something wrong with our damage statistics? Hey, there we go. We're up to 3.63. Dude, look. I'm not saying the run's bad. All I'm saying is 2 runs in a row where things have been a little touchy. Damage stat is pretty bad. This time our rate of fire is great, and our damage is pretty terrible. It's all right. Our HP is good. It looks like we're gonna make it happen for sure, but certainly not a superb run, all things considered. But like for real, how did they convict anybody back in? Because nowadays, you know, if you've watched Making a Murderer, there's like skepticism in that case. Like there's physical evidence, and now there's people that are like, but the cops had a vendetta against that Stephen Avery. Maybe they physically transported DNA lifted from a tube of chapstick and put it at the crime scene. And that, for some people, constitutes a reasonable doubt. How did they convict anybody of anything? I'm not railing against reasonable doubt, by the way. I'm just saying, like, from a legality and a, burden of proof standpoint, I kind of struggle to understand how... Weren't they doubtful of everything? Weren't they like, well, Mrs. Jenkins lived across the street and she saw the murder take place and she says he did it. But simultaneously, like, who knows? It was dark. She might not have been seeing things that well. Paralysis. Looks like we gotta let him go, boys. I mean, I guess what I'm asking for is really like, is there a book on the history of law enforcement? It sounds very interesting. I don't want to sound like the world's most boring man, but nowadays I'm at least aware of how crimes are solved. Hey, we found bodily fluid at the scene of the crime. We ran it through the database. It came up with these matches. We cross-referenced it with people that are in the neighborhood. We got credit card receipts from this guy. He was staying at a hotel nearby. Dude, we have 9 luck. But back in even in the 1970s, I'm like, most convictions must have been like, well, he told us he did it. Eventually, we just broke him in the interrogation room and he confessed. Maybe there's an interesting book on that, is what I'm trying to say. Because it seems crazy. Also, if there's a book about a man who pretends to be John Hancock in the 1700s, but is not actually the one and only John Hancock, if I see that book on the store shelves and I go to bookstores on occasion, you'll be hearing from my lawyer. I'm taking you down. The original John Doe. Look for it. Published by Penguin Books. This fall. What's he gonna do when he gets there? I don't know. Maybe try to sign his own Declaration of Independence for free state of West Virginia or something? I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, okay? I'm not actually gonna write the book in case it's not abundantly clear. I don't really have the desire, to be honest. The story sounds kind of like a one-trick pony right now. Okay. This is the floor, man. I can feel it. You guys ever wish we lived in an alternate universe where they kept coming out with 4 Mega Man games every year just to see what they would do now that they're on Mega Man 95? They're already getting into some weird Mega Men, Robot Masters, I should say. They did the Beast Wars thing in Mega Man X where all the Robot Masters were actually animals. That was cool for a while. Then they made 30 of those, but you gotta think that by now you'd have Fidget Spinner Man, right? Ooh, a little cautious on that one. Yes. I kinda want to take Stopwatch, actually. Okay. Hello, Ruka. Hi, what seems to be the problem? Oh my god, he sprinted in. Let me guess. I won't believe it, but Tomo licked you on the ear. And then you licked him on the ear. And then he took a punch at you in the face, and then you took a punch at him in the face, and you get the idea. I've seen this story. It's a tale as old as time, Ruka. You just gotta let it go, you know? You guys are brothers. If we're ever not here and somebody breaks into the apartment, you and your brother gotta band together. What you should actually do in that situation is hide. But here's the thing, when the fire alarm goes off, you gotta stop hiding under the bed, okay? I know, here's the thing. I hope my mom's not watching this right now. She's not gonna be happy that I say this. You know, I know when the fire alarm goes off, you're not supposed to grab your pets. Unless I'm roused from a deep sleep by a fire department, you know, by a firefighter, I'm taking the extra 30 seconds to get these cats into their spacesuit backpacks and getting them out. I recognize that it's foolish, and even with a 1% greater risk to myself, I should not be doing it. I'm doing it, okay? But it would be really helpful for me if in those situations you would stop getting under the bed. Because it just makes it take slightly longer for the whole thing to happen. You know, I'm trying not to get us to all run into that situation in the future, given the opportunity, you know? I know you're not supposed to grab, okay? Like, here's the thing. Have you ever seen, like, a TV show or a movie or something? And then, like, I mean, it's from a bygone era. It's funny, but, like, people my age and older, we were, like, the last generation, I'm sure, that heard this. But, you know, when my parents would talk about, like, oh, if there's a fire, what would we save? They're always saying, like, or what my grandparents especially were like, we're saving pictures, because you can never get new pictures. Nowadays, that seems, don't take us the wrong way, Granny, seems a little hilarious. Because you're like, bro, my phone's already in my pocket, I'll just grab it, and they're all in the cloud, Grandma. We already gave him Zuckerberg, he'll hold them for us, he'll keep them safe in the event of a fire. But I understand, you know, back in the day, they were right, you know, there's no way to replenish the lost memories. But if you've ever seen, like, a TV show where, like, somebody runs back into a burning building to, like, grab photos, my reaction every single time is like, what an idiot. Anytime somebody runs back into a burning building and goes like, my dog's in there, I'm like, get him! You get that dog! That dog, he relies on you for protection. He doesn't know what's going on, you gotta save him, you know? I got, like, my eyes are watering a little bit just thinking about this situation. You signed a contract with that animal. Through thick and thin. The photos can go. Anyway, that's right. I mean, we're lucky we live in a small apartment. When our cats hide, they always hide in exactly the same location. Under the bed. And they get real mad, too. Like, when I... you know, sometimes, like, just flip the mattress up a little bit and then grab them through the hole that's been created. They're like, what are you doing? Don't you hear that alarm? And I'm like, what are you doing? Don't you hear that alarm? It's a very stressful moment for them because I put them in their astronaut backpacks. None of this happens, like, all the time, but we've had a lot of fire drills in our building. To the point where, like, you know, maybe, like, 10% of the building still evacuates, which is just terrible. I gotta think that there's some psychology there that, like, you know, when you have a fire alarm drill in your building once a month, it actually has, like, a dampening effect on the likelihood of people being safe in the event of a fire, because with every advancing unnecessary fire drill, people go, you know, one step closer to, like, well, this probably isn't a real one, right? What are the odds? Anyway. Then they're, you know, I got them, I'm holding them outside in their astronaut backpacks, and then, you know, they're already stressed out because they don't know what's going on, and it's loud, and there's a bunch of strangers around, and, you know, maybe it's cold, they're outside, they don't like to be outside. It's not like that's where, you know, they evolved or anything. And then people see them in their backpack and they start to come up and go like, oh, they're so cute. And they're like, what is happening? Should have left me under the bed. Never. Mikatsa e sukatsa. I gotta say, I'm not trying to complain. And did I ruin my own Horror Babylon setup by getting rid of Void? Yes. Or getting rid of Razorblade 4 Void, I should say. Yes. But we've had a lot of very, very, like, DPS kind of impotent runs lately. This one's much, much better than our Samson run was. But it's still, like, it's lacking. Not terrible, but far from the kind of greatness that you would expect, having had Void for so long and, you know, multiple deal with the devil opportunities and etc., etc. I'm actually pleasantly surprised isn't the word, but I'm a little, it's a little unexpected that, you know, as of right now at least, we've navigated through these, you know, somewhat dubious runs with relative acceptability. Would you take the pill if you saw it was tears down? No, no I wouldn't. It could be a thrill if you just take the tears down. No, it wouldn't. It would just be bad. You must be strong. Your tears go down. The tears down pill. Anyway, so I do want to fight Mega Satan. I'm hoping that with 8 luck, which used to be 9, but I guess it's tied to Zodiac, I suppose. I'm hoping that we are able to leverage that to pick up some items, because if we can't, what the F is the point of having luck in the first place? I mean, the real reason you want luck, you know, oh, the consumables are nice. Yeah, but, like, that's not what people are getting out of bed for. They're getting out of bed, they're getting out of bed for, you know, getting as many items in the chest as is possible. And right now, we're just doing a bang-up job, I gotta say, of giving us 2 bombs per room. It's a fantastic return on our investment. That was a good hit. I can't be mad. You held in there. Jibby bug. Hoping that's enough. Yeah. Oh, you son of a gun. Well, if we die, we come back as Lazarus. I would really, really prefer for that not to happen. What? Okay, now we have God ahead, of course. I would really, really prefer for that not to happen. I'm liking the Horror Babylon situation. All we need is some red hearts to show up and become spirit hearts, or some spirit hearts to show up directly. That's also fine. Hey, Plan C. That's a good one. Amazingly, this might be the only use case in which Plan C actually works, because you respawn on the room. So, what kind of person would I be, okay, if I didn't at least try to make Plan C work? How do we do this? I mean, I don't even want to bring it up. We want to beat the first phase of Mega Satan and then use Plan C to get through the rest. We should die, respawn as Lazarus, just in time for the enemy to die, without us being compromised. Is this a good idea? Well, I gotta be honest, I've run the numbers in my head a couple of times here, passively while waiting. How could it be a bad idea? I mean, everything checks out, right? I think. Right, Ruka? Oh, he's a sleepy boy now. Ruka. He's gotten over his bad mood. That's alright, Ruka. Everybody gets grumpy now and then. I started today a little grumpy. I was grumpy at myself. I slept badly last night. I slept badly last night because I had way too much coffee throughout the day. You know, it was my day off. I always have a coffee or two to start the day. Then we went out for brunch, and at brunch, I was like, let's brunch. I'll have a coffee. Then we saw a movie, and after the movie, Kate got a bubble tea. And I was like, well, if she's getting a bubble tea, I might as well get, like, a coffee. And then when it was, like, 2:30 in the morning, and I was trying to go to sleep, and I'm like, why am I not tired? And I was like, maybe, like, the gram of caffeine you consumed today across 4 different cups of coffee. So then I was grumpy at myself, like, why am I so dumb? I got over it. Mostly thanks to Slay the Spire instead of Isaac, Isaac results have been better, but the way of getting to those results has been a little cumbersome sometimes. It freaking... What happened? Oh, there we go. The death just happened, but there's the respawn. Get me out of here. We actually used Plan C to kill an enemy. That should be an achievement. Anyway, for now, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. We actually used Plan C. If you did enjoy it, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, though, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!